Good morning, Chestnuts. It was lovely to see some of the work that you did yesterday around Oliver and his letter that he would have written to his mum and dad now that they've disappeared. I hope you enjoy the work that we're going to be doing this morning too. We are going to be answering the question, can I infer feelings and information about a character? And to do this successfully, we need to be able to say what I can see, suggest what this shows about a character, understand new vocabulary, and suggest what this vocabulary shows about a character. So the first thing we're going to do is listen to the beginning of chapter 2. Most people would be a bit alarmed to find that their parents had disappeared along with a whole bunch of uncharted islands. They might feel inclined to phone the police or the Coast Guard or just run about shouting. Not Oliver. He was a crisp and made of sterner stuff than that. He hadn't panicked when his baby buggy was carried off by an eagle on the expedition to the Forgotten Mesa. He hadn't lost his cool when his parents took him on that ill-advised cycling trip to the crater of Mount Firebelly. "But it's supposed to be an extinct volcano," Dad had yelled while lava bombs bounced off their cycling helmets. He had barely batted an eyelid when a bear stole his sleeping bag on the north face of Mount Rainier. He barely batted one now, just ran downstairs and out onto the beach, looking around in case his parents had come ashore without him noticing. But the beach, in the wintry afternoon sun, was long and empty and completely parent-free. The orange dinghy rasped against the sand down on the foreshore where the small waves kept spreading neat doilies of foam under it. Oliver pulled it further up the beach and wondered what to do. Then he noticed that there was still one island left in the bay. It was the littlest and lowest and least interesting of them, the one his mum and dad had ignored when they went motoring off to explore the taller ones. Even from the shore, with the low sun shining in his eyes, Oliver could see that they were not on it. But perhaps it had got some clues to where they'd gone. So that's the beginning of chapter 2, and I just want us to think about what has happened so far. And where do you think Oliver's parents have gone? So I'm just going to give you 30 seconds to have another think about answering that question. Right. What we're going to think about now is, what do these phrases tell us about Oliver? In the text we've just read from chapter 2, it says, not Oliver, he was a crisp and made of sterner stuff. It also says he hadn't panicked when, he hadn't lost his cool, and he barely batted an eyelid. So what we need to think about is what all these things mean. What do they make us think about Oliver? Now, if you're made of sterner stuff, that means that you're very strong and determined. If you don't panic, then you must be very good in a crisis or when something goes wrong. He hadn't lost his cool, so he must be very brave. And finally, if he barely batted an eyelid, he must be very fearless. So these are all characteristics of Oliver and us trying to think about the type of person that he is. Now, at the beginning of the book, these pictures come up. And I want us to have a real clear look at these pictures and try and help us think about what his childhood was like. Because we know he was born into a family of explorers. And if you look at these pictures, you can see some of the places that Oliver has been and some of the different animals that he's encountered. He's seen a mummy. He's had to pull his scarf off of a penguin. It looks like he's asleep there when a big bear is growling. He's been in his buggy when the rope of their bridge has broken and the alligators are underneath. And finally, him and his mum have had to run when a boulder's been chasing after them. Have a think about what all of these things tell us about Oliver. Do they also make us think about him being brave and fearless and determined? Because I think they do. Now, these experiences have helped Oliver become the type of person he is today. And what we're going to do now is think about any adjectives that you would use to describe him. Remember, an adjective is a describing word and it describes the noun. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to maybe think of 1 or 2 adjectives that you could use to describe Oliver. I wonder what you came up with. I'm going to show you what I thought. I said that Oliver is brave, determined, courageous, and confident. I hope you agree with me. Now, the main task for this morning is going to be doing something called a roll on the wall for Oliver. And what I'm going to attach to this video is this picture that I've drawn of Oliver that you can use. But if you'd like to, by all means, you can draw your own. And what you're going to do on the inside of Oliver is you're going to write what personality traits and characteristics he shows. And on the outside, you're going to write the information from the text that evidences and backs up what you think. Now, I'm going to show you an example first, just so you have an idea of what it is you need to do. So what I've done is put Oliver in the middle. And the first word that I've chosen is the word confident. And then in the text it says he hadn't panicked when his baby buggy was carried off by an eagle. And I think that definitely shows someone who's confident. Another word I've chosen is brave. And in the text it says he barely batted an eyelid when a bear stole his sleeping bag, which I definitely think shows that he's brave. So you're going to have a go at doing this, and I really look forward to seeing what different adjectives and evidence from the text you come up with. Speak to you later.